So today, reality, truth, answers. Crazy, so weird. Uh, you know, I was somebody that I always like thought myself to be very intellectually curious. I investigated, I explored, I tried to acquire knowledge in order to make myself better, in order to help myself grow, in order to expand my capacity for consciousness and awareness and to understand what was happening not just in my little world, but the world at large. And I never really, as a habit, did that through media. And I do that. That is non existent today. I do not watch or imbibe in media, at least on the television or news, papers or channels, and I subscribe very little to media that's global in nature or pervasive messaging, even on social media. And so I say that because, I want to make it clear that like what I'm going to talk about as reality is mine, right? The answers I'm looking for are still as yet to be determined. But some of the things that I was sure that I had answers to or for, and some of the things that I was clear that I felt a certain way about, are no longer true. And that's was at first very unsettling. And yet now I've come to believe that it's really healthy because it's expanded my capacity to understand other people. And it's also made me less likely to just be like, oh, if you have an opinion, I can just say yes and agree with it and then, move on. I can opt to do that, but I can also be like, yeah, I don't really care if like you and 6.99 billion of the 7 billion people on the planet believe that. I can believe something else. And even though there's a feeling that, oh God, is my truth different than your truth? Or what is my reality versus your reality, right? And I think I mentioned this in the caption, this whole idea of like, well, that's just my truth. I mean, that's just more chronic, like, oh, that's just like, see, you can't deny it if I say it's my truth, because if it's true for me, you cannot disagree. Oh, sure I can, because truth is to me like a principled thing, right? Like, truth in a large sense is like there's principles of truth, which is like a squared plus b squared equals c squared, or if then, type of concepts. But, truisms like, if you do this in this way, it'll always make you happy. That's not truth. That's opinion, and that's the opinion of one type of person. And it sounds funny to correlate this, but this whole thing about truth and reality and answers started with a discussion I was having about the amount of fiber in fruit. I know you're like, how the fuck does fiber and fruit have anything to do with truth? Well, because of this. I have this book that's really good. It's like a nutrition guidebook. And then I read a lot about nutrition and eating because I want to be healthier than the people who passed their genetics on to me, which were not always really healthy, full of high blood pressure and obesity and diabetes and stuff like that. So I've, for most of my adult life, sought to like, how do I enjoy food I really want to eat? Like, cheese and cream and butter and bread and pizza and ice cream without really being unhealthy. And the truth is that it's really touted like you should eat granular fiber, like wheat, bran, and those things per serving have like, say, 10 to 15 grams of fiber. And then the other stuff like fruit, like, well, it's only got 3 or 4. But then there's this whole list of things in the natural realm, like an avocado that's got 10, and blackberries that have 8. And it's really funny because if you oftentimes like look up lists or predominant information about fiber and nutrition, you won't see that. If you go to the doctor and the doctor wants to prescribe, say, you have high cholesterol, something for high cholesterol, and you're like, well, what about healthy eating? They don't necessarily think that that's going to take care of all of it. And I'm not interested in like debating medicine because I'm not qualified to debate medicine, right? But what I have experienced going to the doctor is that they're much more quick to decide on like how you can get on something to alleviate the symptoms rather than treat what might be happening in your body, which is a response to how you're treating your body like shit. Right now, the bigger problem or hurdle there is the fact that like I can't, nobody else is going to be responsible for helping me understand how to not treat my body like shit. And sometimes that's addiction, food addiction, sugar addiction, etc. But I won't get into all that. You know, what it did is it prompted other thoughts, other conversations about the fact that my reality, my truth, and my answers, as it were, not even mine, the reality, truth, and answers that I see in the world are biased. The information I'm being spoon fed is very linear, very aligned with a certain dialogue around everything from big business to pharma to money making to a lot of things in the world that were just formulated as ideas when that was the most important thing. how to funnel a big business, how to, have the government determine, how things should be for the individual. And in some ways, I hate to say it, the individual, people like me, forfeited our right. We gave that up easily. We bent over the sink to take it up the butt from systems and authorities that were in control. And I don't want to do that anymore. And I hope this doesn't sound like I'm some kind of conspiracy theorist, because I'm not. I'm trying to find answers here. I'm trying to see, because the past couple of years of just so much messaging that really disturbed me. And now I'm just examining and examining things that I would just read before and be like, oh, that's no big deal. Oh, yeah, that's the right information. But the beauty of the internet and the pervasive nature of information is that I can get information that says this today, and then I can get information that says something totally different tomorrow. And so I just want to keep looking for information. I want to keep defining and redefining what truth means to me. I want to keep finding answers. I want to keep being steeped in reality. And the only way I know I'm in reality is when I'm comfortable right where I'm at. That's a hard place to be. I'm going to keep trying though. Thanks for hanging out today and have a great day.